Tonight's big stories. Newly installed Senate President Chis Escudero seeks to mend ties with the lower house over disagreements on charter change. But one question remains, will Senate hearings on charter change continue under his watch?
5 Filipinos, one with a serious neck injury, are among dozens hurt aboard a Singapore Airlines flight that encountered severe turbulence mid-flight. What is flight turbulence and what does it happen, or when does it happen and why? We'll get insights from the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines.
And do not miss our chat with newly crowned Miss Universe Philippines 2024, Chelsea Manalo.
Welcome to the show. I'm Nessun Mo.
I'm Angela Lagunzad Castro.
And I'm Shawnee Al.
Start off with today's top story. Days after the Senate was rocked by a surprise leadership turnover, we're now starting to get answers on what will happen to talks on charter change, now that Senator Chis Escudero is the new Senate President.
For one, Escudero says he wants hearings on economic cha-cha to be put on hold for now while they decide which committee will handle it moving forward.
The new Senate President also wants the House and the Senate to repair their strained relationship first. Ria Fernandez with tonight's big story.
Though the regular session of Congress is now on break, Senate President Chis Escudero is planning to meet with House Speaker Martin Romualdez to iron out priority bills that will be tackled by Congress once regular sessions resume in July. On top of the agenda is talks on economic charter change, which remains pending in the Senate. For Senate President Escudero, word wars between the two chambers on the controversial measure must first stop before discussions resume.
Sabi ko sa kanya, mag-usap at magkita kami sa darating na linggo marahil para mapag-usapan una sa lahat ang relasyon ng Kamara at ng Senado na sana maayos, wala nang palitan ng maanghang na salita.
The relationship between the Senate and House turned sour due to the push for a people's initiative to amend the Constitution, which some senators believe was started by some congressmen. Lawmakers from the two chambers traded barbs over this. That's why Escudero wants to first repair this relationship between the two chambers before resuming talks on cha-cha, which he himself is known to be opposed to. In fact, Escudero says hearings on economic cha-cha may not move forward for now, as Senator Sonny Angara, the chairperson of the Subcommittee on Constitutional Amendments, has also resigned from the post.
Gaya ng sabi ko, pansamantalang pagpapaliban namin yan para isaayos kung sino ba talaga ang mamumuno niyan. This is a pending measure. So we have to decide one way or the other how to go about it. But my thrust right now, without consulting yet my colleagues in the Senate, would be to assign it to where it should be assigned.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez says he has already accepted the fact that he and Escudero have opposing views when it comes to cha-cha. But Romualdez says he still looks forward to his upcoming meeting with the new Senate President.
Well, tingnan natin kasi hindi kami pa nag-uusap, hindi kami pa nag-meeting. But yung hangarin lang po ng House ay economic reforms and economic amendments. Yan ang pinakamaganda sa demokrasya. Lahat yan pwede pag-usapan, ipupulong-pulong natin, makafocus tayo.
Aside from cha-cha, Romualdez and Escudero will also discuss other priority measures of President Marcos. Escudero notes, though, that the Senate will remain independent under his leadership and will not simply serve as a rubber stamp of the administration. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, we are One News.
Right, this next one might be a big story in the coming weeks, we'll see. Because for the second time since 2018, the House of Representatives has approved the bill allowing absolute divorce. The question, though, is will this bill finally push through in the Senate as well? Marian Enriquez has the story.
126 members voting in the affirmative, 109 in the negative, and 20 abstentions. House Bill number 9349 is approved on third and final reading.
That is the results of yesterday's voting in the House of Representatives, leading to the approval of the proposed absolute divorce bill on its third and final reading. However, former Senate President Tito Soto criticized this outcome. In a tweet last night, Soto said that the motion should have been lost or defeated since the majority of the House did not favor the proposal. Based on the rules, it requires a majority of 50% plus 1 vote, or a total of 131 votes to pass the proposal. But this morning, the Secretary General released the updated vote count. There were exactly 131 votes in favor, 109 votes against, and 20 abstentions. According to the House Secretary General, 131 is indeed the correct number of votes in favor.
Kamali yung secretariat sa pagbibilang kasi nagkakagulo nun, if you recall, during the voting do sa itong bill na to, nagkakagulo sa harap ng secretariat Kanya-kanyang submission doon, yung iba binubulong, ito boto ko. So hindi nagtugma yung actual votes doon sa ni-report ng secretariat, which was immediately corrected naman.
At present, the ball is in the Senate's court to pass a similar measure regarding this matter. Albay Representative Edsel Lagman, one of the main authors of the bill, believes that the absolute divorce bill has a high chance of progressing in the Senate, especially now that Senator Francis Tolentino is the Senate Majority Leader. His predecessor, Senator Joel Villanueva, was known for his opposition to divorce.
That the Majority Leader has been quoted as saying he's in favor of the divorce bill, unlike his predecessor who was against the bill.
Newly proclaimed Senate President Chis Escudero, however, admits that he has not yet seen the version passed by the House. For him, it would be better to make the annulment process more affordable rather than pushing for divorce in the country.
Payagan ng PAO, tanggapin ang mga kaso tulad nito. Nagsabi na ang Supreme Court na hindi na kailangan ng psychologist para mapatunayan ang psychological incapacity.
Nonetheless, Escudero said the chamber would decide on the matter based on conscience and personal beliefs. On the other hand, some female members of the Divorce Filipinas coalition are happy with the passage of the bill in the House of Representatives, just like Evelyn, who separated from her husband after finding out he had a child with another woman.
Talagang nakakaiyak. Isipin mo, natali ka, para kang nakakulong. Yung preso nga, nakakalaya. Pero kami, wala kaming kalayaan kasi yung kapirasong papel na yan, it will lead you hanggang mamatay, till death do us part.
Meanwhile, Michelle, who was physically and sexually abused by her husband, could not help but get emotional after hearing the news.
Pinagdasal namin araw-araw mula gabi. Nung narinig namin ang bawat opinyon nila, masakit para sa amin kasi hindi naman po sila nakakaranas sa bawat naranasan po namin. At hindi naman po sila yung sumama sa tao na yon.
If the divorce bill is finally passed, these are just some of the situations that would qualify as grounds for absolute divorce. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Meanwhile, water level at the Angat Dam has dipped below its minimum operating level, causing water pressure in many Metro Manila households to weaken even more. Shaila Francisco has the rest of the story.
To avoid running out of water for their daily use, Chofilo Bayos has already prepared buckets of it at his house in Quezon City.
Kaya kami nag-ipon ng tubig kasi hindi natin masabi na biglang nawala yung tubig, tulo ng tubig. At kasi may stock kami ng tubig. Mas maganda yung may ipon na talagang.
Bayos does this as a precaution as water pressure in their community started to weaken during the afternoon and night instead of only during the early hours of the morning. The MWSS says some areas in Metro Manila, Rizal, and Cavite will experience decreased water pressure from 10 p.m. to 4 in the morning. For some areas in Manila and Quezon City, water pressure weakens starting 12 noon to 4 p.m. Water level is now reduced twice in a day to prevent further decline of water at the Angat Dam. That's because the water level in the dam has dropped below the minimum operating level of 180 meters. When this level is reached, water supply of consumers is prioritized over water supply for irrigation of farmers. That's why consumers are reminded to save water.
Mga selected areas lang naman po ito. Ito po yung mga areas po kasi na talagang malakas po or mataas po yung kanilang mga losses po. No? So yun po yung gusto natin i-catch para masave po natin yung tubig. Sa ngayon po, no, since we wanted to preserve pa rin yung ating pong reservoir, since wala pa rin po yung pag-uulan, kaya magkakandak pa rin po tayo ng mga pressure management po na sa ating pong sistema.
The water allocation needed to avoid water interruptions in Metro Manila and nearby provinces is 52 cubic meters per second. Allocation for households is currently at 49 cubic meters per second, and this will last until the end of May. That's why they're taking out the 3 cubic meter difference from the allocation for irrigation. Despite this, the MWSS and the Agriculture Department assures farmers that water supply for irrigation will continue.
Coordinated po sa mga irrigators association po, no, and para hindi naman po maapektuhan pa yung mga sakahan na kailangan pa ng additional na tubig, ay bibigyan po natin yung ating pong mga sakahan or yung mga irrigators association ng tulong, just like pagbigay ng mga fuel subsidies.
Ang maapektuhan yan yung mag-early planters. At kung kulangin, meron naman tayong mga provision for shallow tube well or other small-scale irrigation projects.
Shaila Francisco, WR1 News.
Okay, while the dams are dipping below minimum operating level, and while most of the country is still experiencing extreme heat, some areas might just see some heavy rains over the weekend. A low-pressure area inside the Philippine Area of Responsibility is likely to intensify and become the country's first tropical cyclone for 2024. Pag-asa says the LPA entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility at 5 a.m. today, and at 3 p.m., it was some 680 kilometers east of Davao City. The State Weather Bureau says this LPA is likely to intensify into a tropical cyclone in just one day, and once it does, it will take on the local name Aghon. Latest forecast data shows that the LPA could bring rains over the eastern Visayas and Caraga regions. It could also make landfall in the Bicol region or eastern Visayas on Saturday or Sunday. Pag-asa also said that this weather disturbance could intensify further into a severe tropical storm. So best be ready for all eventualities and possible heavy rains in affected areas.
Definitely looking forward to
Some rain.
Some rain and some water, more water. And speaking of, up next, 5 Filipinos sustained injuries from the Singapore Airlines flight that was hit by severe turbulence this week. More details on that when the big story returns. Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. 5 Filipinos are amongst the injured passengers of the Singapore Airlines flight that encountered severe turbulence this week. One of them suffered a serious neck injury. And joining us tonight to talk about the science behind incidents of turbulence and how we can better handle and prepare ourselves in case of similar situations, we have with us tonight Marlene Singson, Assistant Director General of the Air Traffic Service in CAAP. Magandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi po sa ating manonood at sa inyo po dyan sa studio.
Okay, Marlene, when the news came out, there was reference to this Singapore flight going through an air pocket. Now we're reading that there's no such thing as an air pocket and that this was turbulence. What exactly happened?
Well, actually, when we say air pocket, it's a common statement, a word coined by people around. But in aviation industry, that's what we call turbulence.
Okay, hi Marlene. First of all, no, after this happened, nagulat lahat ng tao because Singapore Airlines is one of the top airlines. It's definitely has a really good record, really good reputation. Does this mean that it could happen to everyone? And dito sa Pilipinas, who is responsible for calling the pilots and telling them na, oh, may turbulence, baka you should reroute or you should avoid this route? May ganun po ba tayo dito?
It will all depend po kasi there are several causes of a turbulence. Basic reason would be the wind in the area. But the wind will be a factor only up to a certain level. Pagka po ang eroplano ay nasa high altitude na, like 39,000 feet, 37,000 feet, medyo hindi na masyadong factor ang wind. The main factor this time ay ang cloud formation. So we have different kinds of clouds. We have the cumulonimbus clouds, which is the most dense, diba? It's actually creates and brings rain. So pagka po yung mga clouds are too dense, the molecules are higher, and their density also contributes to a certain force inside the clouds. So molecule movements for inside the clouds is up and down. So that's the reason you experience that particular motion in an aircraft. You go up, you go down, because the aircraft follows the motions of the molecules inside the cloud. The pilots would be able to communicate usually to the air traffic controllers. So kami po sa control, the moment we receive an information from the pilot that he is in the soup. It's a technical term, meaning that the aircraft has entered into a clouds with a high density profiled clouds. So, and they are already experiencing turbulence. The turbulence could vary from different degrees. So the higher the density, the more intense the turbulence would be.
But Marlene,
So usually po, when we receive information like that from the pilot, we thereby provide vectoring, or we give them a different direction in order to deviate from the regular course. Yun po yung tinatawag naming diversion, weather diversion. Kasi these clouds are considered as weather.
Okay, but Marlene,
So ang tawag po doon is weather diversion. We direct them further away from the clouds.
Okay, but what happened here was actually identified as clear air turbulence, meaning it happens when there are no clouds. So there were no clouds when this severe drop in altitude happened. So ano po nangyari doon?
We are for that particular flight, the Singapore Airlines flight, we are waiting for the final report from the body investigating it right now. We don't have the complete report yet. Even the recording of the flight itself, the flight recorder, is not yet available at the moment. One thing that we are very, very worried about is the global warming. These particular changes also brings about changes in the airspace. The heat index we're experiencing right now is an indication that we are facing severe weather disturbances. It could be below 120, that's flight level 120, that's 12,000 feet, or even higher.
Okay, Marlene,
Those are
quick
the things
follow-up.
we are trying to be ready about. Yes.
Right. That's really interesting what you're saying, that global warming is also changing how you guys work up there in the flight tower or control tower. What have you been observing up there in recent years? Meron po bang nagbabago no, sa mga established trends from before? What are your observations from the flight tower or air
Oh,
traffic?
I've been an air traffic controller for 40 years, actually. During my early years in the service, we haven't experienced sharp and this lightning that looks like several branches hitting everywhere. But right now, that's the reason we have several red lightning alerts in Manila, even in other airports like Mactan and Davao. It's a different scenario right now when it comes to weather. So matatalim po talaga ang mga kidlat. And one factor po na ganito ang characteristics ng lightning right now is, of course, the heat being experienced by our planet.
And I was wondering also, Marlene, ano, kung ito ba ay nakakasira rin, does it damage aircraft? And based on what you said earlier, pilots are being warned naman sometimes on turbulence. Pero sometimes it occurs, may mga possibility na bigla na lang siya nandiyan. On that note, paano natin, di ba, ma-assess, no? Paano ng mga crew will react on this?
Actually po, our surveillance radars ay equipped with a weather map. So, pag inon mo po si weather map, we will be able to identify the locations of the heavy clouds. So, we advise the pilots to expect weather deviation. And we are also updated on weather forecast. Like for example, ito pong incoming na weather disturbance that we expect in the next 48 hours. So we already have information on that. So we plan for their flights as well in order for them to be safer up in the air.
Marlene, first of all, may I just say I am so curious po no, about your work. I've always wanted to go up there into your office and see how things go. I understand, of course, that that is very strictly not allowed. Now, of course, everyone's just saying, di ba pwedeng mag-seatbelt na lang tayo? Di ba pwedeng lagi na lang naka-on yung seatbelt kung nakaupo ka? Because personally, yun yung ginagawa ko dahil I'm paranoid and I have experienced mild turbulence na tumaas yung butt ko. Mga siguro 4 feet, and it was really, really scary. Tapos bumagsak ako, medyo tumama ako dun sa armrest, ganyan. So isn't it just safer if we make it a policy to just always fasten our seatbelts?
Especially pag mahaba yung flight.
Actually po, especially for the long flights, the reason hindi rin yan siya actually a regulation is because of knowing the limitations of the body as well. Although we strongly recommend that you keep your seat belts on all the time throughout the flight. But then there are situations wherein you need to go to the comfort room, you need to stretch your legs and all these things. We recognize human factors. That's the reason we allow every now and then passengers to be moving around. Pero naririnig nyo rin po yung usual na sinasabi ng mga flight crew, including the flight attendants, that they suggest to keep your seatbelts on. Dahil may mga ganito po, katulad ng Singapore Airlines, it came without warning, as stated by the pilot. The turbulence came without warning, and this is actually unprecedented. I mean, the level, the intensity of the turbulence coming in without any warning, that's unprecedented. We experience turbulence every now and then, because of the current weather situation in the airspace. But this is the first time that their statement is that they have clear skies and yet they experience the turbulence. Another cause of turbulence actually is the downdraft and the updraft. This is yung pagpalo po ng hangin sa mountain, especially the high mountains. Pagpalo ng hangin, if it's updraft, iikot po kasi yung hangin pataas. And the possibility of the aircraft being pulled down is always there. Pwede rin pong pababakit mataas, and then you go back to your usual flight level, which is encoded in the flight computer. Kasi po, pag tumaang eroplano, ay binibigyan namin mga controller ng air traffic clearance po niyan till your destination. We even provide the flight level. Usually, pag international yan, that would be flight level 360 transposed to 36,000 feet, 37,000 feet. So yung mga ganun po, pwede kang maka-experience. Yung sabi mo, ma'am, kanina na parang umangat ka ng a few feet from your seat. Mas po ay talagang, if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you're gonna hit your head doon po sa bubong ng aeroplano.
Miss Marlene, ako kumakapit kami sa upuan namin para sa signal po ninyo. In the same way that we feel like holding on to our seats with the images that are being shown on screen. And this is a discussion, I think, for the aviation industry. As you mentioned, we're seeing changes with weather patterns. Mas malaki ang hamon dito, and this will be the start of a new conversation. But thank you so much for explaining all of that to us. We have from CAAP, Marlene Singson, Assistant Director General of the Air Traffic Service. Nakakatakot, ano?
Nakakatakot. Tapos may global warming.
Lalo
So parang di na talaga natin
climate change daw talaga.
I mean that it does affect literally almost every, alang-alang to kay Regina na wala dito, na pet niya talaga ang global warming. She always warns us na, and if she were here, I know what she's gonna say. It's really going to affect every single aspect of our lives and how we know how to live.
Correct. And yun nga, parang pag nakita mo pa lang yun, nakakatakot ng lumipad.
Yung bumaba yung oxygen, diba?
Totoo. Hindi siya predicted, and clear air turbulence nga yung sinasite ng ibang media. This needs to be studied definitely. Yun na nga, no?
Pero what we can do on our part, apart from our own...
wear your seatbelt.
Wear your
Pray.
seatbelt. Yeah, lalo na kung matutulog ka. Diba? Ay, di mo kailan super sikip. Ako, I put medyo maluwag. Siguro mga 2 inches, ganyan.
Sinasabi na kanina, tumatalim na daw.
Yung lightning. Totoo yun, na napakadaming lightning alerts, di ba? Over
Ang
the
aeroplano ba natatamaan? Hindi naman natatamaan, di ba? Para kotse. Hindi natatamaan ng kidlat.
Pero it causes damage daw itong turbulence sa mga aircraft.
For sure.
For sure. Diba?
Kasi like that, the case of that one, it dropped 100 feet and then it climbed right away 300
Hindi, parang nag-climb muna tapos bumaba.
Bumaba.
Parang ganun siya.
All right, up next, we'll be speaking with newly crowned Miss Universe Philippines 2024, Chelsea Manalo, the first Filipino woman of color to win the coveted crown. Don't miss that chance to see her here. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching the big story here on One News.
All right, so as Angela said before the break, we are going to talk to our representative to this year's Miss Universe. Chelsea Manalo bested 52 other contestants for the Miss Universe Philippines crown and the honor to represent our country in the upcoming Miss Universe pageant in Mexico. The 24-year-old stunner from Meycauayan, Bulacan is also the first woman of color to win the Miss Universe Philippines crown. So let's get to know Chelsea even more so we can properly fangirl for her as she joins us live tonight via Zoom. Chelsea, first of all, congratulations!
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who is here watching us live. I really am grateful for the support, for the love. I know that this sash and the crown that I have worn is a big responsibility, but so far I'm enjoying it. I'm taking my time. But thank you.
It was not even 24 hours. How do you feel? Have the emotions settled down? Has it all sunk in yet?
It haven't yet. To be real, like I still feel like it just happened a while ago. It still feels surreal, but I am ecstatic. You know, being able to win Miss Universe Philippines 2024. It's been a whole 4 months, and I am with 52 other girls. The challenges that we had to face is no-brainer. It's a real tough battle. I mean, they're all beautiful. Everyone is very deserving. I told myself, you know, that when I get on that stage, I'm just gonna perform at my best, make my parents proud, my family and my supporters proud. And you know, if Miss Universe really is for me, then destiny will align.
Chelsea, you've been dubbed as the Bulacan Barbie. You do look like a Barbie doll, Black Beauty, and you've also called yourself a woman of color in the Q&A portion. Tell us all about that story and what led you to this Miss Universe stage.
Well, honestly, this year, you know, Miss Universe Philippines organization had to put down all of their standards when it comes to beauty. They have mothers there. They have women who are married. There are women also that are underage as well. You know, they have specifics when it comes to beauty pageants now. And as for us, you know, I'm not just the only woman of color there. I have all the other girls as well with me. They are so beautiful. Everyone is deserving. And because of this, I think that is also one of the uniqueness that I bring to the pageant, to my journey there, to have representation to a lot of women, you know, that it doesn't really matter what color you are, what hair it is that you are representing. If you're being authentic, you're beautiful, you know, you can be whoever you want to be. You can be Miss Universe, and here I am.
I was wondering, it says here your advocacy is championing Indigenous youth education. So what inspired you to pursue this advocacy?
Well, it has always been close to my heart, you know, about the kids, the youth rather, that my parents, when I was a little girl, they have always told me and trained me to give back to these children, you know, and it is through their eyes that I can see the dreams that they like, that they want to pursue, because I was also one of those children that they have so much dreams, you know, don't limit yourself. And because of this, it led me to focus on that. I know that there are so many children as well that, you know, are not given the opportunity to get an education of privilege of that. And because of this, I want to really focus on that matter, because I know that when it comes to education, this is where all the dreams can start. You know, you can start from this beginning. And with the organization, with the help of the organization, I know that we can make a step for it.
Chelsea, just curious, speaking of childhood dreams, was one of your childhood dreams to be with Miss Universe or to join a beauty pageant? Or is this something that came up later in life, an opportunity that just kind of unrolled recently? What is Chelsea Manalo's origin stories in terms of being a beauty queen?
I heard she's a car racer.
Right, so how did you end up here?
Well, it's funny because when I was a little girl, I would always look at myself in the mirror and just play as if like I am answering questions. And then I would represent our country and say Philippines as if I am, a beauty queen. But it kind of scares me when I was a little girl because, there are a lot of beauty standards that I thought I couldn't make it. So it was just a dream, and it started there. And of course, everything started also when you're a little girl, you're joining pageants, your parents are pursuing you, they're supportive. So it started in school. My confidence built up there, and I gained friends. My confidence started to boost up. Communication also, because when you've been bullied, sometimes you get to be on the side. But because I have that passion to also speak about what is really close to my heart and the purpose that I love, that is what led me here to be a Miss Universe candidate. It's not just you representing your own beauty, but the purpose that is really close to you.
Chelsea, I'm just curious, kaya naman mag-Tagalog, ano?
Oo naman.
Tell us a little bit about your parents. I mean,
kaya.
your lineage. You were born from an African-American father, I believe, married to a Filipina, and then I think they separated, right? Can you tell us your story? In Tagalog, pwede ba? Tagalog.
Okay, kaya natin yan.
Sige, mag-Tagalog tayo. So, ako po ay biracial. My mom and yung mom ko po ay Filipina. Yung dad ko, my biological dad, is African-American. They have been married before, but very young age pa lang, they divorced na din. And my mom met my stepfather, but he provided for me as my own. He was my dad at the age of 2. Siya na yung nagpalaki po sa akin. He had to go abroad, magtrabaho para lang sa pagpapaaral sa akin to provide for me and my mom so that we have a home. But I also met my biological dad po nung nagpunta ako ng States when I was young there. I also studied, and then I met him there. We had a really close bonding, but it was just until recently, maybe a couple years ago, he died. I haven't really get to meet the urn that he was turned into. But maybe I know wherever he is right now, he's also up there praying, supporting me in the things that I love. And I'm really thankful also. I want to give credits to my parents, my mom and my dad. They have been supportive. I actually told this on my preliminary interview because they asked me how supportive my parents are. They've actually become like my personal assistants, my makeup artist, yes, my driver, literally everything.
Sila yung
Because
nakikita namin sa video, no? Oo.
Yeah,
The mom and stepfather in the videos.
yes,
After
my
your
mom
coronation.
was the one crying. My dad is very shy, so sometimes he can be out of the scene. But my mom, every time kasi I'm out there on the stage or I'm out with at my best, she kind of trembles kasi kinakabahan siya. Sabi ko, don't be nervous for me, you have to be happy for me because I'm here. I'm gonna be your Miss Universe.
Okay. Chelsea, on the lighter side, okay, I'm sure nakita mo na yung napakaraming memes about the crown.
Yes, I have seen that.
How did you manage to not let it fall? I'm really curious because it defied the laws of physics, and how hard is it really, to stand there and let someone put, it's hard sometimes when someone else is putting stuff on you. Minsan parang di tama, di ba?
Honestly, it didn't feel as if I was balancing it because my hair was in a bun. And then when Michelle put the crown on my head, I felt as if it was safe, Parang nakapatong na lang siya. Hindi ko na-feel na it would fall off. So I thought, okay siya. But then when I turned on the side, that's when it slipped, So maybe because the crown it had a little bit of a weight, I didn't feel like it would fall off. So after seeing the photos, I would laugh on it. But Michelle had to fix it later on. So don't worry.
Maraming diamante yan.
That's the most important thing. You fixed it.
Okay, so what's next now? Obviously, I'm sure punong-puno na yung schedule mo leading up to Mexico. Do you still have more trainings? Ano bang, what's in store? Like, I can imagine like maraming gym sessions, di ba? Maraming facials,
How are you going
maybe.
to prepare for the international competition?
At saka si Michelle D, naalala ko, parang talaga yung pag-prepare niya for the Miss Universe
Parang
pageant
bootcamp
itself.
Yeah, oo.
I mean, yung mga gowns niya, talagang
Even the question and answer
pack na pack.
Oo. So, do you have a designer na?
Meron na
Like,
ba
who are
tayong
you gonna wear?
May game
The whole
plan na
team.
ba? Yan. Oo.
So it's still early days. It still haven't sunk into me yet. I have to talk with my team, especially with my team in Bulacan. They will be very supportive, so I'm very excited for that. When it comes to schedules, it's still early as well, but there are already things that are lining up. I'm excited for that. Training will be coming very soon. I know it's just a little bit of a stretch when it comes to me preparing for the Miss Universe in Mexico. But, everything will fall into line because I have already said myself that if I am already here, made myself as Miss Universe Philippines, then why can we not win Miss Universe, right?
First, one last question because
Yeah.
itong si Michelle ay parang kumbaga modelo siya, no? Ehemplo siya para dun sa mga nabubuli ngayon because you were bullied before because of your hair and skin color. So what is your message to people, ladies also, no, or girls right now who are experiencing bullying?
These bullies to you or the people actually putting you down, there is a purpose why these are happening, but I don't want you to put it into a negative light. Don't focus on it. Don't listen to these words because at the end of the day, it's just you who really could really matter what you really want to pursue. Just stick to that. When it comes to yourself, stick to your core, be humble, be kind. That is what I can always say because that is what my parents have always taught me. You have to always be kind to the people around you because these people would say names, they would call you names, they can be harsh, but always give back or give nice things back to these people because everything will fall into place and your time will shine.
Speaking of, Chelsea before she became Miss Universe Philippines, what were you doing? Anong kinabibisihan mo, no, before ka nadala or napasok dito sa pageant circuit, which I'm sure is super time-consuming, but were you in school? Were you working? What did you have to give up and put on pause to join Miss Universe Philippines?
Before I was in Miss Universe Philippines, I also worked in the hospitality industry, and at the same time, I was a model. I was juggling both so that I could provide for my family. I am a breadwinner, so these are the things that I was doing. I had to risk it. I had to risk because I know how important Miss Universe Philippines is. But when you dream something, it's okay. It's okay to risk for it. So I know that even if I had to risk that, there's a bigger opportunity and responsibility that I had to hold now.
Oo, pero hindi niya give up daw yung diet niya. Kasi napabasa ko parang you have no diet. Is that true?
Hindi talaga. Parang you don't even have to kasi we have challenges every day. I get to see my co-candidates every day. We have activities. So even if we are trying to do diet, it's also important for you to eat kasi because we have like a really long day of activities. So yeah, kanin and ice cream.
I love
Seafood
it.
diet siya.
So, carbs.
Oo, naturally mapayat ka.
Mahilig sa carbs.
Parang si Sean.
Anyway.
Pareho tayo. Ganun din ako, pero payat.
Sana all.
So, Chelsea, I guess as a final word, no, what is your message to all the girls out there who want to join beauty pageants? How should they contextualize joining beauty pageants in their lives? Let's say, of course, out of sobrang daming girls na may ganyang dream na nagpa-practice harap ng mirror, hindi naman lahat will make it.
I just want to say that if you really want to join or pursue anything, join pageants, I say go for it. Don't listen to those people who would tell you not. Take risks. It's okay to take risks when it comes to beauty pageants because you will grow a lot. I joined my first national pageants. I know I didn't make the cut, but still I gained a lot. The sisterhood that you will gain, the people, the connections, yourself, you will grow into something really beautiful. Your confidence level will grow. And because of this, you can really see where you want to pursue yourself. And I hope that as a woman of color, I can also, influence a lot of women out there that it's not the end of it. We are just coming to another step for us to really be a transformational woman, to be able to speak about what we really love and also to represent our country, our home, Philippines.
You speak beautifully, Chelsea, and just, your presence on this stage has already shattered glass ceilings. You have right now paved the way for so many more to come after you. But in the meantime, we will leave you to celebrate and enjoy the moment as you prepare for the Miss Universe. We're already, proud of the message
so
that
proud.
you're bannering.
And of course, we will be cheering you on right here from the big story. Again, thank you so much for your time. Yeah, you can count on us. If you want to share anything, also call us. Maraming salamat, no? Miss Universe Philippines 2024 from Bulacan, Chelsea Manalo.
Thank you.
Punta naman tayo sa mundo ng sports. Let's get some updates on Las Pilipinas. That is the name of the
National
volleyball
team.
Their first game in the 2024 ABC Challenge Cup for Women as they face off with Australia. In a jam-packed crowd at the historic Rizal Memorial Coliseum, Las Pilipinas jumped to a hot start early in the first set. But the tall Australians did not falter as the Volleyaroos managed to escape with the first set 25-23. Las Pilipinas, though, would bounce right back with a convincing 25-19 set-2 victory. The Filipino Spikers then followed that up with another solid 25-16 victory in the third set. It is currently the fourth set in the thrilling match as the Philippines looks to improve on its seventh-place finish last year. Ako, nakaka-excite yung tournament. Ito na nga, pinapanood na natin ngayon. Mukhang 2-1 na, no? 2-1. Lamang ang Pilipinas. Malaking bagay yan na dahil nga itong national team. Nakita natin yan, galing to sa PVL. So, mas
Rich,
solid.
Matanong ko lang sa'yo, no? Gaano kagaling ba ang Australia sa volleyball?
Actually, hindi ko masyadong kabisado yung Australia, no? Pero kasi alam natin, pagdating sa height, liamado sila. Mas naririnig ko kasi ang US, ang Brazil, ang Australia hindi ko naririnig. So probably the reason why we're up 2-1, that is already a strong message. Pero alam natin competitive sila pagdating sa beach volleyball. Not sure about the indoor
Totoo,
game.
napaka-outdoorsy nga naman ng mga Australians. So,
panoorin natin yan, ano? Kasi malaking privilege yan to be hosting the ABC Challenge Cup. Apart from that, we also have the FIVB Men's Volleyball also to be held
next year,
here.
right? Next year. Ito nga, Gretch. So, nakikita natin, 2 sets ng Pilipinas, 23 points. Currently, no, ang Australia. So, 2 points na lang, panalo na tayo.
Ganun ba?
Hantayin
Wait,
ba
ano bang
natin?
score natin ngayon?
22-18.
Nawala.
Yes, we are about to win the game against Australia. I think 2 points left to this game.
Okay. So,
syempre,
siyempre, nanood na tayo lahat.
Panoorin na lang natin. Hanggang dulo na show na to.
Oo, let's carry this to the end. Mukhang mananalo tayo. 1 point!
Jam-packed crowd, volleyball being very, very strong in terms of following, seeing its highest numbers in terms of spectators. That's Gia de Guzman. Alam natin si Gia, galing yan sa Japan. Naglalaro yan ngayon, representing the country. Pero umuwi siya dito para sumali dun sa national team. Pinakakaba pa tayo ng Pilipinas.
How many more minutes?
Pero kita mo naman sa height.
Wala kasi
talaga.
mga time
wala
yan,
nga pala.
race to 25 points. Yun na nga alam ko sa volleyball.
Ito yung Brazilian coach natin, head coach natin. Si Coach Jorge.
Matagal na ba natin siyang coach?
Parang, I think this is, I'm not sure if it's the 3rd year. But since the pandemic, he has been there. 3 to 4 years.
Nako.
Minsan kasi yung ganyan, parang
pabitin ano ba yun?
Mental toughness ng labanan dyan. Lalo na kung mananalo ka na, kailangan mong paniwalaan na kaya mong manalo.
Oh, pero syempre,
24-20. Pero hindi imposible
yung kalaban mo,
mahabol
hindi
ng
rin
Australia.
hindi rin syempre, ang lapit na rin nila.
Ito, antayin na natin.
Antayin natin?
Antayin natin. Konti na lang isa na lang. Naniniwala kung kaya ito ng Pilipinas. Strong serve, good reception. And there we go! Si Marlene sealing that game. Sanay na sanay si Cici Rondina dyan.
3 sets to 1.
Beach volleyball national team. Siyempre, talo sila Choco Mucho sa finals versus Creamline. Pero ito bumabawi.
Pero nanalo naman ang Alas Pilipinas kontra Australia. Anong championship nga ba ito?
Hindi, ito first game pa lang yan. ABC to, international tournament. So, we look forward to the rest of the games. You can catch that, of course, in Rizal Memorial Coliseum as we see the international teams. And our Philippine team, our very own Alas Pilipinas, making us proud with this first win against Australia. Cici Rondina sealing that game. Napakaliit itong si Cici Rondina. Mas matangkad pa ako sa kanya.
Talaga?
Pero kita mo naman yung niya. Yung lift niya at yung talon niya.
Talang masasabi ko, it's been really, really hot. Nakakainit ng ulo. The news has not been particularly good. But today, we ended with 2 wins for our Filipino ladies in volleyball, Miss Universe.
Nakaka-proud.
Nakaka-proud.
Sarap sa puso. It is a Thursday.
It is a Thursday. We still have one more day. Join us again tomorrow. But for tonight, this Thursday night, we're going to end the show on that very good note. 2 wins.
Oh, nakaka-proud. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This has been The Big Story. Thanks for tuning in and have a good night.